Okay, the 2027 Chevrolet Silverado and the 2027 GMC Sierra is going to change a little bit this year. So, what exactly is GM really doing with its engine lineup for 2027? Because if you just look at the headlines recently, it kind of feels like GM is going in five directions at once. Now, let me talk to you like me and you are just talking back and forth in a parking lot somewhere. You hear about the EVs, all the hype. You hear about the new V8s maybe into the GM product line for 2027. Then you hear the gas trucks are coming back in a big way from what I've been hearing. And now people are talking about hybrids as well. So, as me talking to you as a friend on friend here, I want to talk about in this video, just like two people talking about trucks every day. Because honestly, now this is my take. GM's next move is starting to look a lot more clear, I think. Now, all right. So first thing, I want to keep this real, of course. So um, GM has not come out and handed us some big nice paper that says, "Here, guys and girls, here's our full 2027 engine roadmap." No, they haven't done that. So this is more like putting the puzzle pieces together from what GM has announced and from what I've been reading, you know, what's really solid reporting has found here. So, and when you do that, the picture starts to look pretty obvious, I think. GM still believes EVs matter long term. And I do agree with that. There is going to be lots of room for EVs, you know, now and into the future. And I think within the next few years, it's probably going to be once they get everything sorted out and make them, you know, more beneficial to the consumer. I think the EVs are going to be the way to go eventually. So, but right now, they also seem very serious about gas trucks. A lot of manufacturers are. SUVs are very, very popular now. Um, you don't see many cars being on the parking lots on the dealer lots as much as you did before. And the new V8 for the vehicles that make them the most money is another emphasis here. So, um, now me talking to you as a friend on friend here, the biggest clue is the new V8. Now, the first thing I've read about this here was not too long ago. GM announced a huge investment in its plant in New York to support the sixth generation of the V8 engine. So if they're investing a lot of money into that plant, that matters a lot. So because companies do not spend that kind of money on a new V8 if they're just trying to ride out, you know, the clock for a year or two. They're not going to spend all that money for an investment for a year or two, is what I'm trying to say. So that tells me GM still sees a future for the big gas engines in the full size trucks and their SUVs. So again, if they're investing that much money, they're not going full EVs anytime soon. It's still going to be the gas powered and the diesel powered, of course, engines, I think, for a long time. Now, the 2027 trucks are a huge part of this, of course. GM said, the Orion assembly is going to build gas powered full size SUVs and light duty pickup trucks starting in early 2027. So there you go. I've been reading that as well. So this is a huge deal because Orion had been tied to EV plants before. Now they're switching over to gas powered. So that should tell people something. So when you put, that together with the V8 investment, it starts to feel like GM is setting up its next big wave of truck, right? So the SUV products around updated gas power first. Interesting. So when you really put the clues together here, they're still going to be dominating here for a long time, I think, for the gas-powered engines. So, does this mean EVs are dead? Probably not. No, that does not mean GM is giving up on EVs. I wouldn't think. Who's that lady's name? Mary Barra. I think hopefully I'm saying that name is right. Has still said EVs are the long-term engine game, is what she says. And GM is still building EVs right now. So I would not look at this to say, oh God, GM is done with electric trucks. I don't think so. I think it's more like GM is saying, okay, the market is moving slower than we hoped. So we're going to, lean harder on what sells right now. I seen this coming like 2 years ago, personally. I didn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out because, EVs are good. Don't get me wrong, but if the infrastructure wasn't there to start with, the last thing I want to do is jump in a vehicle, drive it down the highway. If it's only like 400 miles and my battery's dead, I really got to plan ahead to know where the charging stations are. Last thing you want to be is stuck on the side of the highway, and you got to get that thing towed because nobody can show up with gas for you if it's fully EV. So yeah, I think a lot of people were trying to like maybe steer away from them because they were still saying the infrastructure is just not there. Plus the charging time is so long. Like if I pull into a gas station right now and I got a guy in front of me or a girl in front of me and they're waiting for gas and I'm after them, I don't want to sit there for an extra 10 minutes just to get gas. I really don't. So pulling into an EV station and there's not enough places to plug in and charge, I think that might have been another reason why people decided to say, we're going to wait a little bit. But the EV truck side has clearly cooled off, is what I'm trying to say, I think. Now, that said, take it as a grain of salt. The EV side has got its room. So GM has indefinitely postponed its next generation full-size EV program, I think, a little bit. That included, the future of Silverado and the Sierra EV plans. I don't think they're going any farther in development. I think what they have now is they're probably going to just see what works for now instead of investing a whole lot of money into something that, it's not going to make them a profit, of course. And, reporting says that GM is, shifting more attention back to the trucks and SUVs, of course. So if you're reading between the lines here, folks, the near term priority, I think, sure looks more gas and hybrid than a full, speed EV truck expansion. Now, I've been saying this from day one. Like, if you want EV, that's great, but make it a hybrid, right? Make it to something that, you still have best of both worlds. You got the gas and you got the electric power, right? So, but hey, I guess the government was trying to force all the manufacturers, well, you got to build EVs like right now, let's do this and get everybody on board. But I think everybody lost a lot of money. The hybrid part is the interesting wild card, I think. Now, here's the part I think truck people are really going to care about. Now, this is my opinion now. There have been recent reports saying GM is planning the plug-in hybrid Silverado and Sierra models, from what I'm reading, and even looking at extended range electric ideas where a gas engine helps to charge the battery. And again, I've been saying that for the last couple of years. Give them the EV power, but have it where the gas engine helps charge the batteries. So I think Ram is doing this for next year. I read somebody else is thinking about doing it. I think it's let me think for a second. Nissan Rogue. Yeah, Nissan Rogue's doing that. So they're going to have a gas powered engine, but the vehicles are going to be fully powered EV. So what that means is the motor is only going to be running long enough for the gas part of it just to charge the battery part. So when you hit that gas pedal, all the power is going from a battery to the wheels. None of it's going to go from the gas engine. Gas engine is only going to act like how can I say it? Almost like a generator to charge batteries. I think train engines do that as well. They're diesel, but I think all the power comes from the batteries. Yeah, I think that's how it works. Anyways, that's how they're going. So I want to be careful here, though. So the part is still mostly based on reporting and supplier chatter, not some full official GM product sheet. So remember that. Now, so I would talk, possibly that this is probably going to happen for sure. Now, what this probably means for truck buyers. Now, let's think about this. So if I had to say this in plain English, I'd put it like this. GM seems to be building a 2027 truck strategy around better gas engines first. So they're trying to, reduce the engine or the gas emissions, especially for the trucks and the SUVs. People are already buying in big numbers. So that's, if you want to look it up, you can. Then maybe hybrids come in to help with fuel economy and everyday use. And I also think EV trucks are still part of the future. Just maybe, not moving as fast as GM wanted to. Now, the simple truck guy, they look at this all the time and say, honestly, if you are a truck buyer, this is probably what you want to know most. And this is me telling you, as a friend here, if you like V8 trucks, GM is clearly not walking away from them right now. Clearly, especially with all the money they're investing. Now, if you want better towing and truck capability with stuff, you already trust, the 2027 is starting to look important, of course. Now, if you want, have you been waiting to see whether GM goes all in on EV trucks right away? That's not going to answer. That's not going to happen, no. So no fear of that. For those of you folks who are thinking, that's going to happen. No, it's going to be a long time, I think. So when people say, and they tell me to say the 2027 GM, engine roadmap looks, what does it really look like? Well, a new V8 is coming. I've read, quite a bit about this. The displacement's going to change a little bit. It's going to go up higher, I think. Gas full-size trucks and SUVs are getting more major support for 2027. Hybrids might be in the next, might be the next big twist. I think for 2027 for the Chevy Silverado and the GMC Sierra, of course, they're going to come up with these new V8s first. They're talking the reports going from a 5.3 liter to a 5.7 liter. They're eliminating the 6.2 liter. They're going right to the 6.6 liter for the gas. I think they had some major problems with the 6.2 liter. And they've been, but anyways, I'll just leave it at that. And I think the EV trucks are still around, in that next chapter. So I think they're going to have gas engines first, well, diesel, of course, too. But before they bring out the EVs, they're going to go hybrid. Going to have that hybrid option first. That could be a couple of years before they decide to really push hard, I think, on the full EV version only. But let's wait and see. Now, if you ask me the real story here, is that GM picked gas or EV? Well, the real story is I think GM looks like it's trying to keep every door open, for everybody. So, you let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Would you rather see GM stick with a strong V8 truck lineup? Or do you think the hybrid Silverado and Sierra is a smarter move? Because right now, I think it feels like GM is trying to figure out how to give truck buyers both. That's my opinion. So if it was me, and if I was head of GM, I would turn around and build the gas diesel truck power, have that option, come up with a hybrid within time, do that. But if you want to go full EV, make sure that you have a gas engine there that's going to charge the batteries as they go along. And that way you get the best of both worlds. So I think that would be the smarter move over time. But let's see how it plays out. And again, let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and look forward to reading your comments. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye for now.